This is Oscar Bevis for IFL TV here in Bushy, a Bushy Country Club Jab Boxing Gym, joined by Brandon Lewis, mate. A pleasure to meet you for the first time and have you on IFL for the first time. How are we today?
I'm good. Yeah, just finished training. Been here for the last 3 hours and putting in my work behind the scenes and looking ready to get out.
Yeah, ready to get out on December the 17th. All of that we will come to. But seeing as it is your first time on IFL TV, I always like to do a bit of a get to know your story, your background and everything. So kind of a pretty simple question to start with. What was your first kind of core boxing memory? Be it a fight you watched, putting a pair of gloves on for the first time. I don't know. What was your first and earliest boxing memory?
Earliest boxing memory's got to be probably watching Mike Tyson. Everyone loves a bit of Mike Tyson. Just the ferocity, the style, the animalistic kind of raw boxing mentality. Yeah, that was probably my earliest memory.
Yeah, I feel like there's something about Mike that you kind of can't not get gripped by. I guess from the way you're talking about him here, along with others, he was one of your kind of early inspirations and what led you to want to be a boxer then.
Absolutely. I've always been kind of captivated by his style and the mentality behind it and the storyline that came along with him. But then obviously you have people like the likes of Muhammad Ali, Lennox Lewis, who shares my surname. So yeah, inspired by all these greats. And then my all-time favorite boxer, Sugar Ray Robinson. Yeah, he was just the most complete fighter. He could do it all. In fighting, long throw combinations. Yeah,
not a bad list you've kind of compiled there to kick this off. In terms of yourself, when did you get into boxing? Was it a family thing? Go down to the gym with mates? Kind of, how did you fall into start fighting yourself?
I've always been in combat sports from a young age. So I actually started off doing a little bit of kickboxing, and from the age of 7, I thought I was a kickboxer, and I knew that combat sports was for me. It just clicked. It was just like a duck out of water. It was just straight. My mum actually used to kickbox, so I was always in the gym. I was always around my family friend Kingsley Morgan, who was 7-time world champion kickboxer, and that's what kind of introduced me into the combat sports kind of thing. And then when I was 24, so I actually started late. I was feeling a bit unfulfilled in my life. I was doing modeling, and I was doing bits and pieces of business, working at a gym. And one of my friends that I kind of grew up alongside of, Anthony Joshua from Meriden Estate in Watford. We were doing a job in where was it? Sunbeam Studios, a Boss campaign, and it clicked to me then when I was speaking to him. I was like, I need to do some boxing. I need to go back into something that I love. Let me try this boxing thing. He actually said, why don't you try boxing? I went down to Finchley Amateur Boxing Club probably a week after that job. I spoke to Sean Murphy. I was like, listen, I want to be a boxer. Like, fighting's for me. It's the one thing that really fulfills me, and I would do for free, as you could probably hear from a lot of other boxers. So I spoke to Sean Murphy, and he was like, all right, cool, we'll see what you got. And then the rest is history. I ended up boxing for Finchley Amateur Boxing Club as an amateur, and then I went over to Neasden for a season. Learned a little bit of a different style, and then COVID hit and kind of forced me to make the decision to turn pro. So due to COVID, it was a kind of a blessing in disguise. It's kind of set my path and set me on the road for the pros.
Yeah, quite a lot to unpack there. A really interesting story. You mentioned it was your mum that was kickboxing. Normally you get people saying, oh yeah, my dad took me down the gym. My dad was a boxing fan. So when you said my mum, I was like, but yeah, wicked. She was around your mum training, and your mum competed as a kickboxer as well, yeah?
Yeah. She was a feisty one.
So you was behaving at home.
Yeah. My mum was mum and dad. She was serious. But I love my mother. She's the best. Yeah.
And then, so you were friends with Anthony Joshua prior to,
We grew up in the same area of Watford. I'm a Watford boy. I was bred here, and we knew of each other growing up, and we were always in local kind of vicinity of each other. He was one of my main inspirations, really. He's the one that kind of gave me the light bulb moment to actually take up boxing and go to Finchley, for example.
Yes, you must have obviously enjoyed modelling to have been doing it, but is it just kind of a different dopamine chase boxing? Like kind of that bit more of a rush then that made you go, this is what I need to be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Modelling's great and I love it, and I'm grateful for the experience, the lifestyle that's provided and everything, and the people that you meet, traveling around the world, the travel. I couldn't ask for more, but there was always something that was kind of drawing me, something missing. Not that it wasn't fulfilling enough, but there was something missing from like deep within, and I had to kind of reevaluate myself and sit back and really think what I want for my life, and would I be okay with that hole, that void. And then I established it was combat sports. Or boxing, and found the love of boxing, and we've been going ever since.
Yeah, in terms of the amateurs and kind of that process through, I know you said it was COVID that kind of forced you to make the move into the pros. What did you think of the amateurs? Did you enjoy the circuit, enjoy the kind of regularity? Because I know a lot of fighters I speak to who turn over, whether they've been forced to by COVID, which a lot have, or not, they always say there's a point where perhaps you kind of turn after a couple of years and go, oh, the amateurs is draining me, because it can be a bit of a cruel circuit, the amateurs as well.
Absolutely. I didn't have too many fights as an amateur, surprisingly. I had 10 in total, and I found it it was a bit hit and miss. So I think when I first started, it was AIBA that were running it, and we were under England Boxing, and then Finchley actually had pulled out of England Boxing and went into the Alliance. So I boxed in both the England Boxing and the Alliance, and then England Boxing again with Neasden. Some totally different style, pro boxing to amateur boxing. I found that my style personally kind of gravitated more towards the professional side of things. The amateurs, as fun as it was, had some decisions that are questionable.
I didn't want to say it directly, but when I said some people after a while go, yeah, it's kind of getting a bit draining for me, it was based on the fact that, I don't know if favouritism's the right word, because I haven't been on the amateur circuit myself, but it was kind of decision related that tends to get people just almost like, yeah, I'm turning pro now.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I was kind of trying to stray from saying that outright, but the decision making of some of the fights is a bit questionable. But hey ho, it kind of led us to this point, and it's been positive ever since.
Yeah, so you made your debut mid 2022-ish.
I made my debut 2020. Yes. Yeah.
And you made your debut in Watford. Talk to me about the debut experience. Obviously, you only get one, so you got to enjoy it. But obviously, there's still a job to do. You don't want to be that guy to go and lose on his debut. So talk to me about the debut experience.
Debut experience was amazing. I felt surprisingly not. It was more like a long time coming for me. I'd been in the gym grafting away for so many years to get to that point. I was ready, and I was at home. I was in Watford. I was at my local leisure centre. I was at Woodside Leisure Centre, which they had kitted out and made into the venue for my debut. I had all of my Watford supporters there. We did massive numbers. The energy was electric. My family were all there to support. It was a very good time for me. My debut. There was not a lot of nerves. It was more like a homecoming. And I really enjoyed that experience. I really enjoyed putting on a show for my loved ones, and yeah, may it continue.
Yeah, then you had fight number 2, which is the clip that I've seen on your Instagram. Fight number 2 was your first stoppage. Yeah. I guess kind of in that brutal way, perhaps in kind of the Mike Tyson animalistic way you spoke about earlier, something about knowing that you can put a man kind of to the point of, yeah, this is done.
So I've never questioned or doubted my ability to be able to do that, to knock someone out. It's always what we kind of go for. I feel like there's a little taboo in boxing where people say you shouldn't look for the knockout, but Senna said in F1, if you're not looking for the gap, then you're no longer a racing car driver. So I kind of adapted that, and I kind of said, well, if you're not looking for the knockout, then you're no longer a real fighter. Like, everyone's looking to end that fight as fast as possible and go home to your family, you know? And I'd say that's what my style kind of replicates or embodies, is I'm always looking for the knockout. If it presents itself, great. Obviously, I don't want to overexpose, but yeah, the embodiment is looking for the knockout at all times. That was a beautiful knockout. I have to say, like, I looked it back after. I was like, wow, highlight reel. Thank you. Made it continue. Like, I got many more different shots that I can throw to produce that outcome. I'm looking forward to showing the world what I can do. Been training here with Josh now at Jab in Bushy, and we've been honing some skills, some techniques, some combinations, and I think you guys are going to be really excited what we're going to put on.
Well, yeah, it's exciting if you're saying that's what you're about, knowing that the December 17th date's coming up. So, yeah, mate, I can't wait. I'm going to be there now. It's definitely going to be exciting. So you had one more since, and then you started only recently down here with Josh. When you change up a training team, what is it about the ones you move to that kind of makes you go, yeah, this is right? Is there something like a click on the pads, or just even like the friendship bond? What is it that makes you go, yeah, this is the right move for me? Because I'm sure you would have probably thought a lot about the decision, and it's a decision obviously for your career you want to get right.
Absolutely. It's a multitude of different things, a load of different variables for me. It's the friendship, the understanding of where you want to go, what you're about, ideology, what are you trying to achieve, like stylistically, does that coach complement you? There's so many variables, but with Josh it just clicked. It was the friendship aspect we already had. We'd known each other for a while before. We wasn't dead close, but we had that respect for each other to be in a pally kind of way. I've seen the way he's trained and treated other boxers as well, so that was all positive. And then I sparred a couple of his boys, and I liked the direction that he was taking them, and how he was adjusting to me fighting his boxers in the ring. So that gave me a bit more insight into him and his mindset as a coach. And yeah, I called him up, and I was just out of training, out of a gym, and he said, yeah, he'd look forward to taking me on. So I grabbed that with open arms, and I took it and I've run with it, and it's been great ever since. I'm really happy to be here. I'm in positive spirits, and everyone knows a happy boxer is a dangerous boxer, and we've been working just like that.
Yeah, mate, brilliant. Roll on the 17th. In terms of your goals, obviously, I know you'll have short-term ones, long-term ones. What is, I guess, your long-term one for the sport of boxing? When you retire, is there one thing you wanted to have achieved, be it a belt, a venue you'd love to have ticked off, a country you'd have loved to have fought in, your bucket list stuff? What's your kind of Brandon Lewis hangs up the gloves list? Tick, tick, tick. What are your things?
That's a difficult question.
It's hard, because boxing is unpredictable. You never know. Like a cut can put you out for a few months, freak injury. Like, so I suppose you never know. But what is your kind of, what would you want?
So I've always said to myself that, one, it's not about the money, and the belts are lovely, but it's not about the belts. For me, I got into this thing to be fulfilled. Like, I love fighting in every capacity, whether it be, do you know what I mean, from the kickboxing when I was younger to boxing to anything that I just love combat sports. So for me to be able to do this as a living, as a source of income to feed my family, to put a roof over my head, I want to do that for as long as possible. Goals in the sport, I definitely want to win some titles. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'd love to win a British title. That is what I'm aiming for in the short term. So if an English or a Southern Area title comes first, then great. If I can get all of them and do the traditional route, go Southern Area, English, and then up to British, great. British is my big goal at the moment, and then from there I'll be looking at European and world. World title is my ultimate goal. I believe I can compete on that stage. I've got the tools, I have the mindset, and I believe that I've got what it takes to really thrive up there. So that's where I'm heading. That's where we're heading, and I'm just looking forward to the journey, enjoying every day as it comes, and dealing and adapting with every variable that the opponents have got to throw at me.